Fernanda Paiva, Hitchhiking Stars, bringing you astrological information for your personal growth and development. So we're looking into the lunations, and today we're going to be talking about the full moon eclipse. So eclipses, very powerful. Eclipse season, very powerful as well. So we are still in eclipse season, but coming to the full moon, which is the culmination. So whenever we have a full moon, there is a sense of culmination in a process, in a cycle in our lives. So something becomes exposed, something becomes really clear. So you're getting a little bit of a feeling already for what this part of the cycle might be. Now, when an eclipse is involved as well, then there's something even more urgent when it comes to this sense of revelation, of really seeing something very clearly in our lives, seeing a pattern that's not working. And I like to say as well that whenever there is an intensity of emotions, and I think that a full moon eclipse in the sign of Scorpio tends to bring up very strong emotions in all of us as well. That is a pointer. So think about this full moon as a pointer. Whatever we feel very intensely, and whatever the drama is, let's put it that way, that's pointing at something deeper. A deeper pattern that we're ready to release, a deeper habit that doesn't serve us anymore, or something, or a deeper work as well in terms of healing our wounds. That's also a potential. So try to keep an open mind and look at whatever happens around this full moon eclipse as a signpost for you, showing you where you can really achieve a lot of growth and healing at this moment. So think about all of these astrological symbols and astrological transits in specific as opportunities, right? So we're looking at them as opportunities to grow, opportunities to create something new in our lives as well. And in order to create, we always have to let go of something that doesn't really belong to us anymore, or that's not really aligned with us anymore. And this is a very strong theme, particularly in this full moon eclipse at 14 degrees Scorpio. So one of the things, as I usually do, to look into the Sabian symbol, so I have quite a few interesting things to talk about this full moon. So there are a few very interesting points, unique points about this specific full moon. So this full moon will be happening on the 5th of May. So at various different times, depending on where you are in the world. But it will be happening on the 5th of May, 2023. And first thing, I usually talk about the Sabian symbols. So the Sabian symbol for this full moon, I decided to have a look at the 15th degree rather than the 14th, because the full moon will be happening at 14:55. So 55 minutes of arc, which means there's only 5 minutes left of that degree. So it's a transition, it's a transitory, I don't even know if that word exists. So there's a transition here between the 14th to the 15th. So I just really felt instinctively I should look at the 15th degree. So 15th Scorpio is a girl's face breaking into a smile. Now that really resonated, and when I just looked into the previous degree, it didn't resonate as much. So I'm gonna go with the 15th degree. So a girl's face breaking into a smile made me think of two things in relation to this full moon eclipse. So the first, the girl's face breaking into a smile, circle smile, and that gives me a sense of a lighter approach. So a lighter approach that resonates with Taurus. So when we think about the axis of Taurus and Scorpio, a Scorpio is all about the drama. It's all about the intensity of the emotions, taking things very seriously, going very deep, doing the deep work and all of that. Whereas Taurus is about being grounded in our senses. It's about having a lighter approach to life. And if you had the South Node in Taurus, personally, your spiritual growth is towards going deep and learning about the depth of Scorpio. But at the moment we're having North Node in Taurus. So collectively, we're all learning about Taurian lessons. And in May, the month of May in specific will be very strongly emphasizing Taurus because of all the planets that will be in Taurus as well. But also this full moon. So that smile in this phrase, a girl's face breaking into a smile, made me think about this Taurian approach to life. So an emphasis towards taking things lighter if you can, doing Taurian things, going for massages, bringing yourself into your body to face whatever it is that might emerge during this eclipse season. All right. So the second word that I circled from this phrase as well is breaking. So a girl's face breaking into a smile. So breaking, circle breaking. And we have the South Node in Scorpio and not showing our true emotions. Going into codependent relationships where there is a sense of merging with another person, of the other person being an extension of ourselves. So this gives us a clue of what we're letting go of, what we're ready to leave behind, right? And because of the emphasis on the South Node there, we're learning to move away from that South Node. The South Node is representing the past, is representing something that in a personal chart, it can be a skill as well that we're bringing towards the North Node. But in collectively speaking, when I'm thinking about an eclipse, that's the shadow side. That's the shadow side of the past. That's something that we need to move away from, that we're going to be very aware during this lunation that we're ready to go to the other side. So with that Sabian symbol talked about, now looking at the chart of this full moon eclipse as well, there is a great emphasis in Taurus. We have Uranus in Taurus, the Sun, obviously. Mercury will be retrograde at 8 degrees Taurus, and the North Node in Taurus. So there are 4 points in Taurus during this eclipse. So again, for me, it just feels like tipping the scale towards the more earthy side, the earthy approach to life. The fact that Mercury will be retrograde in Taurus and quite closely involved with this full moon and the North Node as well. I mean, that's why it's an eclipse as well. But the fact that Mercury is involved in this configuration, it also points out to having insights, to having breakthroughs, because it's retrograde is going back on some issue as well. So this full moon eclipse could also be connected with us rethinking something, reassessing something that we said yes, something that we were like, right, okay, I'm in this now, or we went back with an ex-partner or something, and now we're rethinking that. We're like, okay, hold on a minute. And because it's in Taurus, and again there's this emphasis in Taurus, is about our values. I think the key word with Taurus is values. What do you value? What do you value about yourself? What do you value about a relationship as well? Or what are your core set of values when it comes to relating? Is this situation hurting your core sense of values? Or is it aligned with it? So it's a great time to rethink whatever dramatic situation you might see yourself involved with, because it will be a clue towards what you need to follow. How do you need to act in this situation? Now, I personally find that during a full moon eclipse especially, and especially with the Scorpio involved, it tends to be a dramatic energy and is not the best time to take action. Sometimes we take action impulsively because we're feeling very strongly and something really something really happens and there's an emergency, and it calls us to action. But if that's not the case, my advice is to sit with this energy. And because again, there's a lot of Taurus, go to a beautiful garden, go to beautiful nature, spend time in nature, spend time in solitude if you can. Remove yourself from whatever it is that's bringing in the drama. I think the North Node in Taurus as well also asks us to move away from unnecessary drama. Sometimes we create dramas that are not necessary. We feed on that on that those hormones of excitement, and we confuse as a kind of a familiar, I guess, feeling. So we sort of feed on that adrenaline. That's the word I'm looking for. So the adrenaline that we build up during a drama might be familiar to some of us, and here comes the theme of Scorpio again. It might be related to an older trauma. So this full moon eclipse is a real gift in terms of us looking into that, realizing something really important, putting another piece of the puzzle of your life, of your hero's journey, of your personal growth, and understanding further what needs to be done. So you don't need to do it during the full moon, but you can do it later. You can apply that into your life later. There is also a couple of interesting aspects here as well, which I think really brings a sense of relationships being very strongly under the spotlight here as well with this full moon eclipse. And that's, we have two sets of mutual receptions. Now, mutual receptions is when a planet is in a sign of a planet and the other planet, they're sort of like two planets on each other's signs, basically, and they're sort of having a special connection and exchange. So we have the moon and Mars in mutual reception during this full moon eclipse. So Mars will be in Cancer and the moon is in Scorpio. So they work as a pair somehow. And both of them are talking about the past. I mean, water signs have a tendency to focus on the past more, especially Cancer and Scorpio. So again, giving this emphasis on anger issues, wounds, being immersed, or codependent as well, doing things for others too much, putting others first too much in an unbalanced way. That Mars is in square to Chiron in Aries as well. So talking about our wounds in our individual, wounds of our individuality. It's like putting, the family pressure, and we need to do something in a certain way, or so that mutual reception tells me a little bit about that sense of the past and what's holding us back. And the other set of mutual reception is Venus and Mercury. So Venus is in Gemini and Mercury is in Taurus. So they're on each other's sign as well. And again, I have this very interesting sense of them working as a pair. And what I think about them is understanding. I think the key word with the Venus-Mercury in mutual reception is understanding. So there's a gift that can come out from whatever is happening, all the details of what's happening during this full moon, and that is a greater insight, greater understanding of all of these Venusian things in our lives, money situations, relationship as well, that's connected to Venus, beauty, self-worth. How's your relationship to yourself? Do you value yourself? Do you truly value yourself? Or are you in a relationship where you're not treated as you deserve because of that past? And the adrenaline, that I mentioned a little bit before, it seems to be familiar. So you're repeating a pattern and being in a relationship that doesn't align with how you need to be loved. And so I think this full moon is great as well to create a list. That's a very Gemini thing. Create a list. Put into words. Do some journaling of what are your non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables when it comes to relationships? Relationships in general with people. It doesn't necessarily need to be love relationships only as well. One of the main, and Venus will take a very special place because it's ruling all of those planets in Taurus as well. And one of the emphasis here of these two different pairs that I mentioned is understanding instincts. So we can understand a lot about our instincts during this full moon eclipse. Venus is forming, one of the main aspects of Venus is a square to Neptune as well. So again, that points to do not rush into taking any action, into making any sudden decisions. Mercury still retrograde. It's a great time to go inwards even more. So if you can do rituals for releasing, if you can dance these strong emotions that come up, if you can, burn something that is ready to go, or write, do writing, special journaling occasion as well. I mean, all of those things would be great to be done during this full moon. And wait until those strong feelings lift up a little bit and you have a little bit more clarity to know how you should proceed in this situation. But just know that this is quite powerful. It's a lot about what we can move on from, and it might bring a very strong energy with it. So the more we can apply this energy creatively, and artwork would be brilliant as well during this full moon if you can, the better. So that's it for the full moon eclipse. I'm wishing you a wonderful full moon, very transformative and healing, and I'll be speaking to you soon.